My name is Ethan Cole, I said quietly as I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, trying to fix my tie before heading out. Simple guy, simple life. I laughed a little, but it didn't sound real. I always told myself I didn't need much, just love, honesty, and someone who believed in me. For a long time, I thought I had that with Amelia Hart. Are you talking to yourself again? Amelia called from the living room. Her voice sounded soft, tired, distracted, something I kept pretending not to notice. Just trying to wake up, I replied, walking out. She was sitting on the couch with her phone in her hand. Big day at work. Yeah, meetings, she said without looking up. You know how it is. I do, I said, but my chest tightened when her phone lit up with a message and she flipped it face down too fast. Everything okay? Of course. Why wouldn't it be? She forced a smile, but her eyes didn't match it. You worry too much, Ethan. Maybe, I whispered. I just care. She sighed. I know you do. That's why I'm here, right? I nodded, swallowing that uneasy feeling again. Yeah. That's why. Later that evening, Daniel Reed dropped by. Ethan. Open the door, man, he shouted from outside. Daniel had been my best friend since high school. Loud, confident, the type who filled every room. When I let him in, he grinned. You look dead. Long day or what? Something like that, I said. He glanced toward Amelia. You too good? We're fine, she answered quickly. Too quickly. Daniel raised an eyebrow at me, but I shrugged it off. Just tired, I said. Lily Brooks came in right behind Daniel, waving cheerfully. I brought dessert. Amelia, help me pick plates. Sure, Amelia said, walking with her to the kitchen. Daniel nudged me. You okay? You look weird. I'm fine, I lied. Just thinking about stuff. Work stuff. Life stuff. He stared at me for a second. Talk to me if something's wrong. I will, I said, even though I wasn't sure I believed it. I didn't want to sound paranoid. I didn't want to seem like the jealous boyfriend who imagined problems. While Amelia and Lily talked in the kitchen, I heard Amelia whisper, "Don't say anything," and Lily answer softly, "I won't." My stomach twisted again. Daniel noticed my expression. What's up? Nothing, I forced out. Probably just overthinking. When we sat for dinner, Amelia kept her phone close. Every time it buzzed, she stiffened. Every time I looked at her, she looked away. At one point, I leaned close and said, "You're distant lately. Did I do something?" She put on a tired smile. "Ethan, please. I'm just stressed. I promise everything is fine." I nodded, because I wanted to believe her. I wanted our future, our plans, our promises to stay real. I wanted this to be the woman I trusted more than anyone. But something inside me whispered, "She's slipping away." I tried to silence it. Because love, I thought, should be stronger than doubt. Even as the night ended, I kept replaying her forced smiles, the hidden messages, the strange tension in the air, and I wondered how long I could pretend everything was still the same. That I reached Amelia's apartment earlier than I should have. "Amelia? I'm here," I called out, kicking off my shoes. The lights were dim, and the whole place felt oddly still. A soft whisper drifted from the bedroom, so quiet I almost thought I imagined it, until I heard her voice. "Don't say it like that," she murmured, nervous and breathless. Then I heard him. "Daniel. My best friend." I froze. My heart didn't just drop, it fell straight through the floor. I stepped closer, my hand hovering over the door. Their voices faded into soft laughter, the kind that used to belong to me and her alone. "Daniel, stop," Amelia whispered. "He might come home." "He won't," Daniel said. "He never shows up this early." Something snapped inside me. I pushed the door open. They jumped like they'd been caught stealing. Amelia's eyes widened, her face pale. Daniel backed away as if I was a fire. "Ethan," Amelia choked out, "wait, we can explain." I could barely breathe. Explain what? The whispering? The laughing? The closed door? Daniel lifted his hands. "Man, I swear, we weren't doing anything." "Then why do you look guilty?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Why can't either of you look at me?" Amelia reached for my hand. "Please, listen." I was upset. Daniel came over to help. That's all. Help? I laughed, the sound bitter. Behind a locked door? Whispering secrets. Is that your idea of help now? Tears filled her eyes. "Ethan, don't twist it. Nothing happened. Something happened, I snapped. Maybe not physical, but something. I heard it in your voice. I heard it in his. Daniel finally met my eyes, guilt spreading across his face. I shouldn't have come. She called. I thought she needed someone to talk to. You thought she needed you? I said. Out of everyone in the world, you. He swallowed. I made a mistake. No, I said. A mistake is dropping someone's cup. This is betrayal. Amelia stepped closer, shaking. Ethan, please don't say that. You know I love you. Do you? I asked. Because the way you talk to him, you don't talk to me like that anymore. She covered her face. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to sound that way. I swear you're the only one. Stop lying, I whispered. If you want to fix something, at least start with the truth. Daniel rubbed his forehead. Ethan, ask me anything. I'll answer. Fine, I said. Do you have feelings for her? He paused. That pause destroyed me more than anything else tonight. I took a step back. I trusted you, I whispered. Both of you. Daniel shook his head. Ethan, please. I never meant to hurt you. Amelia grabbed my arm. Don't leave. We can figure this out. Don't walk away. I have to, I said, pulling free. This is the night everything broke. And I'm not staying to watch the pieces fall. She cried out my name as I stepped out of the room. I didn't look back. The door closing behind me sounded like a heart shattering. I couldn't sleep that night. The whispers, the laughter I had overheard, kept replaying in my mind. I stared at my phone, hoping for some kind of message from Amelia that would make sense of everything, but there was nothing. Just silence. I called Daniel. Where have you been all day? My voice was tight, controlled, but it shook a little. Ethan. I needed time to think, he said, avoiding my gaze, even though I could hear his voice clearly over the phone. Think? About what? About lying to me? About her? I couldn't hide the anger now. I didn't mean for it to. I mean, he hesitated. It's complicated. Complicated. I repeated, disbelief sharp in my tone. You knew exactly what you were doing. And you let her, Amelia, use me while you, both of you, laughed behind my back. There was silence on the line. I could almost hear him swallowing hard. I didn't see it that way, Daniel muttered finally. I didn't mean to hurt you. I laughed bitterly. You didn't mean to hurt me? You didn't care enough to even try to be honest. That's worse than intention. I hung up, my chest tight. I didn't cry. Not yet. But the betrayal burned like fire in my veins. I stood, pacing my small apartment. My hands shook, my mind racing with images of Amelia's smile, Daniel's careless eyes, their laughter echoing like a knife twisting in my gut. Later, I went to the park to clear my head. The rain had started, cold drops soaking through my jacket, matching the chill in my heart. I sank onto a bench, staring at the reflections in the puddles below. Why did you do this? I whispered to the empty night. Why betray me? I gave everything. I trusted everything to you. A text came through from Lily. Ethan. I think you should know, they've been close for months. Not just lately. Months. I stared at her words, my stomach dropping. Months. The betrayal wasn't just a moment, it was a carefully hidden life I had never been part of. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream, to break something, to undo the trust one had given so blindly. Back home, I watched as a message notification popped up. It was Amelia. Ethan. I can explain, please? I stared at it. My thumb hovered over the screen. No, I muttered. No explanations. No apologies. I don't want to hear it. I deleted her message, my hand trembling slightly, but my heart feeling strangely resolute. I realized, in that instant, that my trust was gone. Shattered. And there was no going back. I walked to the window, looking at the rain-soaked city, my reflection staring back at me. Broken, yes, but awake. Angry, yes, but alive. For the first time, I felt the cold clarity of truth. Amelia and Daniel had taken my trust and crushed it. And I had to rebuild myself from the pieces they left behind. I whispered to the empty apartment, this is just the beginning. And in that rain, with the night wrapping around me, I knew my life had changed forever. That I walked into the cafe where Amelia asked to meet, already feeling the weight of everything she'd been avoiding. She looked up at me with trembling hands and whispered, I need to explain. I sat down slowly and said, then start talking, because your silence has been louder than anything you could say. She took a shaky breath and murmured, I was stressed, lonely, confused, and you weren't emotionally available. I stared at her and said, so your solution was Daniel? She covered her face and whispered, I didn't mean for it to happen. I leaned forward and asked, how long has it been? Her eyes slipped away from mine as she muttered, months. The word hit me so hard I couldn't breathe. I whispered, you lied every day. She nodded helplessly and said, I didn't know how to stop. I felt something inside me snap as I said, you could have chosen honesty. Before she could answer, my phone buzzed with a message from Lily asking to meet privately. I stepped outside, called her, and heard her say, I need to tell you the truth, Amelia won't. My throat tightened as I whispered, what truth? Lily hesitated before saying, they've been close for months, not weeks. I closed my eyes, feeling the last piece of trust fall apart. I said softly, so everyone knew but me? She replied, people tried to tell Amelia to stop, but she didn't listen. I whispered, thank you for being honest. When I returned inside, Amelia looked at me with desperate, swollen eyes. I said, Lily told me everything. Amelia froze and whispered, she promised she wouldn't. I answered, truth doesn't stay buried forever. She reached for me, but I stepped back and said, you lost me the moment you chose him. Her voice cracked as she said, I still love you. I whispered, love doesn't look like betrayal. She sobbed, but I felt nothing except the emptiness she created. Daniel never showed up that day, and I realized he couldn't even face me. I muttered, coward, under my breath. Amelia whispered, please don't tell anyone. I said, people already know, Amelia. They're distancing themselves because they see who you became. She covered her mouth as guilt swallowed her. I added, this is just the beginning of the consequences. She whispered, what are you going to do? I exhaled slowly and said, for once, I'm going to stop protecting the people who destroyed me. She shook her head and cried, please, don't ruin us. I replied, you already ruined everything, Amelia. I'm just choosing myself now. Her tears fell harder, but my heart felt colder with every second. I stood up and said, this ends here. I'm done carrying the blame you created. She whispered my name like a plea, but I didn't look back. Walking out of that room, I felt the first spark of freedom in weeks. For the first time since the betrayal, I felt the pain shifting into clarity, a reminder that I deserved better than lies and excuses. I said quietly, you taught me exactly who not to trust, and I won't forget that lesson again. As I walked away, I finally understood that healing would begin only when I stopped carrying their guilt. I chose myself at last. Today. 4 days, I barely slept. My mind kept replaying every lie, every moment I ignored my own instincts. One morning, staring at my tired reflection, I whispered, I can't stay like this. Sarah called right then and said, you need to get out of that darkness. Come to the office. Focus on something that isn't them. I sighed and answered, I don't know if I'm ready. She replied firmly, you don't need to be ready. You just need to show up. Something in her voice pushed me to move. When I walked into work, she met me with a small smile. Look at you, she said. Still standing. I muttered, barely. She tapped my shoulder. Barely is still standing. For the first time in days, I felt a breath of strength return. All day, Amelia's name flashed on my phone, call after call, message after message. Please talk to me, one said. I'm falling apart, another begged. I locked my phone and whispered, you made that choice, not me. During lunch, Sarah sat across from me and asked, so what's your plan now? I looked down at my hands and said, I'm choosing myself. No more chasing, no more saving someone who didn't save me. She nodded slowly. Good. That's how you start healing. I whispered, it feels strange, letting go. Sarah leaned forward and said, it'll feel natural soon enough. As days passed, something inside me shifted. I worked harder, spoke more confidently, and actually laughed again. People around me noticed. One coworker said, you look different. Stronger. I replied quietly, I'm trying. Meanwhile, I heard bits of news about Amelia and Daniel, not because I asked, but because people talked. At the coffee machine, someone whispered, did you hear about Amelia's project being reassigned? Another murmured, Daniel yelled at her in the hallway yesterday. Their words reached me without effort. One evening, Sarah walked into my office and said, "You're not going to like this, but you need to hear it." I exhaled and asked, "What now?" She took a seat and said, "Amelia's relationship with Daniel is getting messy. They argued in front of half the staff. She hasn't been herself." I leaned back and whispered, "That's not my problem anymore." Sarah nodded. "Exactly. And that's the point. You're finally free." On my way home, my phone buzzed again. "Amelia, I need you. Please talk to me. Everything is falling apart." I stared at the screen for a long moment before locking it again. "I'm not your safety net," I said to myself. That night, Sarah called once more. "You okay?" I nodded even though she couldn't see me. For the first time, yes. She smiled through the phone. "You chose yourself. That changes everything." I looked out the window, feeling a quiet peace settle into my chest. "I thought revenge would fix me," I admitted. "But this feels better." Sarah said, "You're rebuilding. That's real power." I whispered, "Maybe I'm finally taking it back." Before hanging up, she said, "Keep going. You're becoming someone stronger than you've ever been." I sat in the silence after the call, letting her words sink in. For the first time since everything shattered, I felt control returning, slow, steady, and honest. This wasn't revenge. This was survival. And I was choosing it, day by day, breath by breath. This was the moment everything began to shift, back toward me. That I was sipping coffee at my desk when Mark from accounting walked in and said, "Ethan, did you hear what happened with Daniel?" I raised an eyebrow. "No. What now?" He leaned closer. "He got caught lying on a report. Big mistake. The director ripped into him." I shrugged and replied, "He's been slipping for a while." Mark nodded. "Looks like he's losing it." As he walked away, I whispered to myself, the cracks were bound to show. Around noon, my phone buzzed. Amelia's name lit the screen again. "Please, talk to me. I need you. Everything is wrong." I locked the screen without a second thought. "You made your bed," I muttered. Later, Lily called out of the blue. I hesitated before answering. "Ethan, can we talk?" she said, sounding nervous. I sighed. "If this is about Amelia, I don't want to hear excuses." "It's not excuses," she replied. "It's the truth. You need to know what's happening." I leaned back. "All right. Go on." She whispered, "Daniel's been cheating on Amelia. For months." My chest tightened, not out of sympathy, just shock. "With who?" "Her co-worker," Lily said. "Rachel Ford. They've been sneaking around behind Amelia's back." I let out a humorless laugh. "So the cheater got cheated on." Lily exhaled shakily. "She found out last night. She's a mess, Ethan. Crying non-stop. She didn't even show up properly to the morning meeting." I replied quietly, "That's unfortunate. But it's not my problem anymore." Lily paused, then whispered, "You sound different. Stronger." I answered, "Silence teaches people what words never could." After the call, I sat there thinking about how everything they tried to build on lies was collapsing without me lifting a finger. It felt strange. Not satisfying, not exciting, just peaceful. At 3 p.m., Sarah stepped into my office. "You hearing the chaos outside?" I smirked slightly. "A little." She sat down. "Daniel's in trouble. Serious trouble. And Amelia? She looks like she hasn't slept in days." I nodded. "Lily told me everything." Sarah tilted her head. "How do you feel?" I answered honestly, "Honestly? I feel nothing. Just distance." She smiled softly. "That means you're healing." My phone buzzed again. "Amelia this time. Please pick up. I didn't know Daniel was like this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything." I read the messages and whispered, "You weren't sorry when you had him." As I left work, I bumped into Jacob from another department. He said, "Dude, your ex and Daniel are practically imploding. Hard to watch." I gave him a calm look. "I've stopped watching." I arrived at the office early, coffee in hand, feeling different. Stronger. More present. Sarah greeted me with a grin. "You're here early. Looks like someone's taking charge." I shrugged. Feels good to actually show up for me, for once. Around mid-morning, Mr. Griffin called me into his office. "Ethan," he said, "I've noticed your work lately. Impressive focus. I'd like to offer you a leadership role on the next project." I blinked. "Me? Lead?" He smiled. You've earned it. Your colleagues trust you, your results speak. I want you at the front. I whispered, I don't know what to say. Say yes, he said simply. I know you're ready. I nodded, a strange thrill coursing through me. Yes. I'll do it. Back at my desk, I met my new teammates. Mark Hill extended his hand. Ethan. I'm glad we're on the same team. I've heard good things. I shook it firmly. Thanks, Mark. I'm looking forward to working together. He smiled. You'll see, we lift each other up here. No hidden agendas. I felt a flicker of hope. Real support felt unfamiliar, but refreshing. Later, Dr. Elena Ross walked in, holding a notebook. Hello, Ethan. I'll be assisting employees with wellness and mental resilience. I raised an eyebrow. Mental resilience. She smiled warmly. Exactly. Helping you understand strength you didn't realize you had. I muttered, that sounds necessary. She laughed lightly. Trust me. You're not alone in this journey. Her calm, measured presence made me feel steadier, as if she could help me anchor myself when chaos tried to creep in. Meanwhile, whispers floated around the office about Amelia. Did you hear? She missed the meeting again. Yeah. Her project's being reassigned, someone muttered. I remained quiet, a quiet satisfaction filling me. Karma didn't need me to push it, it unfolded naturally. Daniel's absence was noticeable too. People whispered, where's Daniel? He's been suspended. I nodded subtly, feeling the balance of life shift slowly. Their world unraveled while mine expanded. Mark dropped by my desk. You're handling the leadership role well. I can tell you're different. I replied, different how? Confident. Calm. Not weighed down by others' drama. I smiled faintly. It feels like I finally get to be myself. Elena stopped by. Ethan, I noticed something important. You've started valuing your own decisions, your own boundaries. I nodded slowly. It's new, but it feels right. She said, that's power. The kind that comes quietly, without forcing anyone else to fall. I whispered, I think I'm starting to understand. By late afternoon, Mr. Griffin called me again. Ethan, your approach is inspiring the team. Keep this momentum. I see a lot of potential here. I smiled. Thank you. I've never felt capable like this before. As I walked to the elevator, I thought of Amelia, stressed and crumbling at work, and Daniel, jobless and lost. Their chaos was no longer my burden. I whispered to myself, I don't need revenge. This is better. Real power comes from choosing myself, and finally, I can. For the first time, the contrast was clear. My life rising, theirs falling, and me standing taller than I ever imagined. I pressed the elevator button and felt the weight lift from my chest. This is what strength feels like, I murmured, smiling at the reflection in the elevator mirror. And for the first time, I truly believed it that I was stepping out of the office when I noticed her standing across the street. Amelia. Trembling, tears streaking her face, her hands fidgeting with the strap of her bag. My stomach twisted, but not in the way it used to. She spotted me and called out, Ethan, please, just a minute. I kept walking toward the crosswalk, then stopped, turning to face her. Amelia. My voice was calm. She took a shaky step forward. I need to talk. I've lost everything. I raised an eyebrow. Everything? Yes. Her voice cracked. Daniel left me. My job, it's on the line. I'm drowning, Ethan. I can't fix any of it. I folded my arms. And you think coming here will change anything? She shook her head, sobbing. I had to see you. I needed to tell you I'm sorry. I regret it all. Every lie, every choice. I studied her quietly. The girl I loved was gone. In her place was someone desperate, broken, pleading for something I could no longer give. She stepped closer. Please, Ethan, can we talk? Can we fix this? I shook my head slowly. Fix it? Amelia, what's broken here isn't mine to fix anymore. Her lower lip trembled. I thought you'd forgive me if I just explained. I crossed my arms tighter. I don't think you understand. The person you knew, the person you had, is gone. That version of me doesn't exist. Her eyes widened in fear and disbelief. You mean? I nodded. I mean I'm free now. I don't need to rescue you. I don't need to save what you destroyed. Her tears fell harder. But I loved you. I never meant for this to happen. I whispered, love? Love doesn't come with betrayal. Love doesn't hide the truth for months. Love isn't whispered behind a closed door with someone else. She flinched, and my chest tightened, not with anger, but a strange emptiness. I hurt too, she said softly. I looked at her, letting her words hang in the air. I know. And that's the difference now. I hurt, but I'm not trapped in it anymore. You think showing up changes that? It doesn't. Amelia's shoulders slumped. I thought seeing you. I thought it might help me. I shook my head. You don't get to step back into my life just because yours is falling apart. Her voice cracked. I understand, I interrupted gently, no. You don't get it. You don't get me anymore. You don't get what you lost. And part of me is still human enough to feel a pang, yes, but the other part? It's free. And that freedom is more powerful than any regret you're feeling. She swallowed hard, realizing the truth in my words. Her lips trembled. Ethan. I took a step back, raising my hand. I was sitting at my desk when my phone rang. Daniel's name flashed across the screen. My chest tightened. I considered ignoring it, but curiosity, and some lingering sense of unfinished business, made me swipe accept. Ethan. I need to say something, he stammered. I leaned back, crossing my arms. Start talking. He swallowed audibly. I never loved Amelia. I used her, for convenience. And you were the friend I should have valued, and now I've lost that. I cut him off, my voice calm but sharp. Wait. Let me get this straight. You admit it? You manipulated someone I loved, and now you want sympathy for losing my friendship. I know it sounds awful, he said quickly. I regret it. Ethan, I really do. I've never felt worse. I took a slow breath, keeping my emotions in check. Regret isn't a magic fix, Daniel. You think saying the words undoes months of betrayal? He hesitated. I thought maybe I could explain. Maybe you'd understand. I never meant to. Never meant to? I echoed, disbelief creeping into my calm. Never meant to lie to me? Never meant to hide your actions behind a locked door while pretending to be my friend? That's what you call never meant to? I was selfish. Stupid. Immature. I shook my head. Your selfishness cost me trust. Something you don't get back just because you admit it now. There was a pause. His voice lowered. Ethan, can we start over? I'll do anything. I miss our friendship. I laughed, bitter but quiet. Start over? Daniel, the person I trusted is gone. That friendship is gone. You destroyed it with your own hands. I know. But please, I can't keep living with this guilt. I had to tell you. I looked at the floor for a moment, weighing my words. You're finally honest, too late. That's all I can say. Don't expect forgiveness. Don't expect me to take your calls, texts, or apologies seriously ever again. His breathing hitched. Ethan. No, Daniel, I interrupted, calm but firm. I won't let you speak. You had your chance, and you blew it. I'm done listening. The line went silent for a long moment before he muttered, I understand. I hung up and felt a strange release. The weight of betrayal had a voice, and I'd heard it. Nothing more was needed. Later, I saw Lily shaking her head as she passed my office. Daniel confessed everything. Amelia's losing it completely. She didn't know until now. I whispered, good. Let her feel the consequences she ignored. She looked at me curiously. You, okay? I nodded slowly. I'm better than okay. I'm free from both of them. Daniel's guilt is empty, and Amelia, she's learning the hard way. But it's not my problem anymore. Lily smiled slightly. It's a strange kind of closure, isn't it? I leaned back in my chair, hands clasped behind my head. Closure isn't sweet. It's quiet. It's knowing I walked away without losing myself again. Outside, Amelia's name flashed on my phone, another message, broken and pleading. I read it once, then deleted it without hesitation. I whispered to myself, I don't belong to their chaos anymore. And for the first time, I felt the calm certainty of letting go, walking away, and never looking back. That I sat at my desk, sipping coffee, watching the office hum around me. The silence felt good. Different. Healing. Sarah dropped by with a file. "You're quiet today," she said softly. I smiled faintly. "Quiet is better than chaos." She nodded. "You look lighter. Like you finally stopped carrying something you shouldn't have." I whispered, "I stopped carrying them." Later, a colleague walked past, whispering, "Did you hear about Amelia? She's losing friends fast. People are distancing themselves." I shrugged casually. "That's life." Sarah leaned closer. "You don't seem bitter." I shook my head. Bitter accomplishes nothing. Silence accomplishes more than any plan I could have made. She raised an eyebrow. Silence. "Yes," I said. I walked away. I didn't scream, I didn't confront them publicly. I just let life do its work. My phone buzzed. Amelia's name flashed. I didn't pick up. Another text, "I can't believe this, please talk." I stared at it and whispered, "Not my problem." By mid-afternoon, I heard Daniel got into trouble at work. Mark Hill stopped by my desk. "Ethan, Daniel's in a mess. Major complaints from clients, and he's losing credibility fast." I nodded slowly. "Not my concern anymore." Mark smirked. "Seems karma has its own timing." I smiled faintly. "It always does." Sarah came back with a cup of tea. "You know, you could have tried revenge," she said gently. I shook my head. "I don't need to destroy anyone. My growth is enough. Seeing them crumble without my interference is strangely satisfying." She chuckled softly. "I can see that." I whispered, "It's freedom, not revenge." That evening, I walked through the city streets, the air crisp against my face. I thought about the past months, the lies, the betrayal, the heartbreak. Sarah called. "Hey, how's the evening?" I smiled, walking slowly. "Peaceful. I'm finally open to life again." She asked, "Open to what?" I hesitated, then said, "Anything. New opportunities, new people. Not replacements, just possibilities." She laughed lightly. I liked the sound of that. Back at work the next day, Elena Ross stopped by. "I've noticed a shift in you, Ethan. You're more balanced." I nodded. "I'm learning to value myself first. That's real strength." She smiled. "Exactly. And it shows." I glanced at the empty seat where Amelia once sat, Daniel's desk across the hall. Both reminders of what I'd survived. I whispered to myself, they thought I needed revenge. I didn't. Life did it for me. Later, Sarah leaned on my desk. "You're smiling different." I met Sarah at our usual cafe, the smell of coffee and fresh pastries filling the air. She smiled when she saw me. "You look different today," she said softly. I shrugged. "I feel different. Lighter. Less tangled in the past." She nodded knowingly. "It shows. You're finally giving yourself permission to heal." I stirred my coffee, watching the steam curl. "It's strange. I thought love would fix everything, but it doesn't. Understanding does." Sarah leaned forward. "Exactly. You can't make someone else change, but you can change yourself." I smiled faintly. I think I'm finally starting to understand that. We talked for hours, about dreams, past pain, and the idea of second chances. "Do you think people deserve second chances?" I asked quietly. She thought a moment. "Sometimes. But not everyone. Some people's lessons are for us, not for them." I nodded slowly. "Makes sense." I wasted so much energy hoping Amelia would learn her lesson, but she did, in her own way. Sarah chuckled softly. "And you survived it. Stronger than before." I smiled, feeling a rare warmth inside. I never thought I'd say this, but it feels good. To be able to feel again without fear. As we spoke, my phone buzzed. Amelia's name. I hesitated, then answered. "Ethan, please? I need closure. I can't move on without it." Her voice trembled. I took a deep breath. "Amelia, you already had your closure the day I walked away." She gasped softly. "What?" I continued, calm and steady. "I didn't look back, and I didn't beg for apologies. That was your moment to feel the consequences. Mine is to live forward." There was silence on the other end, punctuated by quiet sobs. I never realized," she whispered, voice breaking. I said gently, "It's too late now. I'm learning to live again. You have your own path. I can't be part of it." Her tears fell freely, and I felt a strange mixture of sorrow and relief. I understand, she finally murmured. Goodbye, Amelia, I said softly, then ended the call. I put my phone down and looked at Sarah. She reached across the table, touching my hand. You're doing it, Ethan. You're letting go completely. I nodded slowly. It's strange, part of me still remembers the pain, but the bigger part feels free. She smiled warmly. Freedom is a kind of love, too. For yourself. We spent the rest of the afternoon planning small things, weekend trips, new hobbies, and possibilities neither of us had explored before. Do you think this, us, could work? I asked quietly. She laughed softly. We'll see. For now, just enjoy this. Learning to live again is enough. I smiled, feeling a lightness I hadn't felt in months. That evening, walking home, I realized how far I'd come. No betrayal could reach me anymore. No guilt, no regret. My heart was healing slowly, steadily. I whispered to myself, I can live again. I can feel again. I can be happy again. For the first time in what felt like forever, I believed it. And as the city lights glimmered in the night, I stepped forward, leaving the past behind, ready for life's new beginnings. That I was at my favorite cafe, drinking coffee, when I overheard someone whispering nearby. Did you hear about Amelia? She lost her job. I didn't respond. I just nodded silently to myself. Another voice chimed in, and Daniel's moving away. Their relationship ended bitterly. Who would have thought? I leaned back in my chair, feeling an unfamiliar lightness. No satisfaction, no glee, just acceptance. Later, Sarah joined me. You're not smiling like you're enjoying gossip, she said softly. I shook my head. I don't need to enjoy it. I just watch. They destroyed themselves with their choices. That's enough. She studied me. So, no revenge. I smiled faintly. Time was my revenge. I didn't touch them. I didn't plan anything. I let life unfold. She nodded slowly. That's powerful. I whispered, it feels powerful because it's quiet. It's final without me having to intervene. A friend from work stopped by. Ethan, everyone's talking. About Amelia, her downfall is complete. I nodded calmly. She made her own bed. The friend raised an eyebrow. And Daniel? I shrugged. He chose poorly. Same consequences. That evening, I walked past their old neighborhood. I saw familiar faces whispering, pointing subtly toward Amelia's new apartment. She never was trustworthy, one muttered. She had everything and threw it away, another said. I stopped and watched from a distance. No anger stirred inside me. No need for confrontation. I felt only clarity. I whispered to myself, they didn't need me to fall. They did it themselves. At home, I called Sarah. You won't believe the whispers today. She laughed softly. I can imagine. I leaned back in my chair. It's strange. I feel relief, not victory. I've been free for months, but seeing their consequences is just confirmation. She smiled warmly. That's justice in its purest form. No fire, no hate, just balance. I nodded slowly. Exactly. I finally understand. Revenge doesn't need fury. Sometimes, it only needs time. The next morning, I read a news snippet about Daniel relocating for work. I woke up to the soft sunlight spilling into my apartment. The quiet felt good, almost sacred. Sarah was already there, making coffee. She smiled when she saw me. Morning. Ready for another day? I nodded, sipping the warmth in my hands. Morning. I think. I'm finally ready for everything now. She raised an eyebrow. Everything? Yes, I said, looking out the window. My life, my choices, my peace. At work, Mr. Griffin congratulated me on the new project lead role. Ethan, your growth is impressive. Keep it up. I smiled faintly. Thank you. I've learned a lot recently. Mark Hill leaned in. Seems like someone's finally getting the recognition he deserves. I chuckled softly. I guess, it's about focus, not anger. And patience. Later, Sarah joined me for lunch. You've changed, Ethan. Stronger, calmer, happier. I smiled, a weight lifting off my chest. I've stopped letting the past dictate my future. I gave Amelia my trust, she broke it, and now, losing her taught me more than keeping her ever could. She nodded knowingly. It's hard to realize that at first, but I see it in you now. I whispered, I don't forgive her, not fully. But I forgive myself for loving someone who didn't deserve it. Walking home in the evening, I thought about everything, the betrayal, the lies, the heartbreak. My mind lingered on Daniel, Amelia, and the chaos they caused. I smiled softly. They hurt themselves far more than they ever could have hurt me. My peace isn't because of revenge. It's because I survived. Sarah called as I unlocked my door. Dinner tonight. I laughed lightly. I'd love that. It's strange. I never thought I'd feel normal again. She replied, normal isn't the goal. Happiness is. And you're getting there. I leaned against the door, exhaling. Yes, slowly, but surely. I'm stronger than I realized. That night, sitting on my balcony, city lights twinkling below, I reflected on my journey. I gave my trust fully, and it was broken completely. I lost what I thought was everything, but in truth, I found myself. Sarah joined me with 2 cups of tea. You look peaceful. I nodded. I am. I don't need revenge, I don't need apologies, I don't need to chase closure. Life gave me justice in the form of time, patience, and self-respect. She smiled softly. And love, when you're ready. I chuckled quietly. Yes, love again,